Hello again. One of the drivers for immigration to Britain is the desire to receive medical treatment which is either unavailable or too expensive in other countries. Often this relates to treatment or services for children with disabilities or life-limiting illnesses. Many children's wards, nurseries and schools contain such children whose families have brought them to Britain specifically so that they can be better cared for here. I don't believe that this is any secret to teachers, nurses and doctors, and it's seen in many parts of the country. One sympathises with the parents who manage to work the system to bring their children to this country, but it cannot be denied that this kind of thing places a great strain upon both the National Health Service and also the education system. Some nationalities and ethnic groups are particularly likely to be in this category, those from Pakistan and West Africa, for instance. Another powerful reason for seeking treatment in Britain for a medical condition is, of course, HIV/AIDS. The antiretroviral drugs used to treat the condition and enable patients to live longer and feel better are very expensive, and in many countries are beyond the means of the average person. In Britain, though, every person in the entire country is entitled to them after a diagnosis of HIV, even if that person is an illegal immigrant with no right to be here. Doctors and hospitals will not refuse to treat somebody simply because of that person's immigration status. In the description to this video, I give a link to figures published on the government website the day before yesterday. They relate to people diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. The situation is perfectly predictable and is of a piece with what I said about children with disabilities or serious illnesses. People with HIV come to this country to obtain treatment. Last year, the number of diagnoses of HIV rose by 50% in England and Wales. HIV/AIDS has been on the decline in this country for years, and now it's rising sharply. For the first time ever, more people have contracted HIV abroad than in this country. 53% of the 6,000 new cases were diagnosed abroad, a great majority of them in Africa. Another 253 cases were diagnosed in England within 2 years of somebody arriving from overseas. What is happening is that cases of HIV are now higher than they have been at any time in the last 15 years, and all the signs are that they are likely to continue soaring upwards. This is just one aspect of a serious problem for the NHS, that of dealing with diseases which have been declining in Britain and are now rising due to immigration. It is sometimes said that one can have either open borders or a welfare state. One might very well say the same thing about a national health service. We can perhaps afford a national health service, but whether we can afford to run one which is international is possibly open to question.